much for joining us. For those who understand English, thank you. For those they don't, probably pretend they don't understand English. They should try. And I know our speaker will mix between Arabic and English, which is perfectly fine. My name is Jabbar Al-Obaidi, professor of Media Studies and Communication Technologies and academic director of global programs. And joining me on this call, Dr. Laura Bernal. She is the professor and chairperson of the philosophy department, and both of us were working on this project along with our friend who's now. This project is very ambitious. The title of it is to create pathways to the Middle East, or to MENA, Middle East and North Africa, which means that we would like to connect different countries in the Middle East, all of them, really, this is our ambition, and with us as a Bridgewater State University, and also as a community and as a country. And this is, I want to emphasize this is really has nothing to do with any politics. So we always filter out the politics of the day. And we, as educators, teachers, learners, we learn from one another, and we really hope that education will be our way to connect the world, and especially with Jordan is very important to us. Why? Because we started our partnership with Jordan in 2006 with the Tafila Technical University. Some of you already know that, and with Yarmouk University, and with really even Al-Rai Study Center through Dr. Khalid Shukran. So this is kind of great opportunity for us to augment all what we have done over the years since 2006. And our speaker today, Dr. Khalid Khatana, is well known for us, at least on our campus. Why? Because he taught with us, and he came, and he broke, they say, bread with us, and he knew the snow, he knew the cold weather and the stiffness, and also he knows the summer. So he does not really need to be introduced to you, because you know him as well as Laura and myself. Just say a few words about this project with MENA. We are hoping to do three things. One is to open up the opportunities between us and faculty, librarians, staff, and professional people, because I know Dr. Khalid invited some professional people. In terms of getting the information that we have, the information that you have, and of course, language is always a barrier, a hedges, between us. So we want to break that barrier. Why? Because interpretation and translation is very important, and I think Khalil will educate us and remind us through history how that was very beneficial, and we still use it. So we are going back to that, and we make sure that we always connect with one another, and we try to have a positive attitude to break this barrier, because everything needs to have a good attitude, positive attitude to break it down, and then you jump over that, whatever you call it, obstacles, linguistic obstacles, or what have you. Secondly, we would like to improve the curriculum in classroom, curriculum in major, curriculum. And curriculum cannot be improved unless, we really input, some other sources or resources from outside of what we have, we are familiar with. The third thing is to link our communities. So it is not just this is TTU and BSU. We are working with other communities, your community, whether in Amman or in Tafila or in Karak or in Bridgewater or in Boston, anywhere here. And there are opportunities for you. If you are a faculty, there are opportunities for you. If you are students, there are opportunities for you. If you are a professional, there are opportunities for you. And I always borrow the phrase, the call from our president, President Fred Clark, that our campus, Bridgewater State University campus, is your campus. So welcome to this session, and I will send it back to Dr. Khalil Khatamna, and Laura and myself will be a really good listener at this case, and we help with the break, whatever break, the breakout rooms, we will help with that. Thank you so much, Dr. Khalil, and the time is yours now.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Jabbar. Thank you for the nice introduction. Dearest friends, Dr. Jabbar, Dr. Laura, Dr. Buthaina, Dr. Shahabat, and many others, perhaps that I can't see now. Friends and colleagues from TTU faculty, our students at TTU, especially those who are from the translation studies, who are joining us tonight, I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of the workshop organizers. Before I start, I would like to highlight on the benefit, or the benefits actually, of the partnership between TTU and BSU. Well, I think one of the most wonderful partnerships ever we made from our side is the one between BSU and TTU. This does not mean that we don't have other partnerships, but the partnership which really produced a lot of fruits is the one with BSU. That is because of the good people at the other side. Jabbar is among them and one of the leaders and of the engineers of that partnership. Really, this partnership goes back to 2006. And since that time, I couldn't even think of the many things that we achieved by this partnership at the side of academic exchange programs, student abroad programs, people who went from our side to Bridgewater State University and finished their master's degree, and then they were able to finish their PhD degrees as well. Now they are faculty. We are proud of this, and I'm really proud of this. I'm honored of this as well. So thank you, Dr. Jabbar. Thank you, folks from BSU. I have memories in your campus that will not, go off. I would say momentary. I will still remember the many days and the many, I would say the minutes that I lived in your campus, and the relationships that I developed with the faculty and with the students at BSU. So I'm really touched today to be back again with you, and I'm always with you to talk about a very important topic, which is translation. And if I want to say something about translation and about myself and the relationship between me and translation, I would say I was born as a translator. Yes, I'm academic. I would say an educator and a professor, but I was born as a translator. However, though I didn't finish my higher studies in translation, but I am still doing translations, and I did a lot of the good things actually. The last, I would say, or the latest was the David Eagleman interesting book called The Brain, The Story of You. And I think you may have the chance to see it on the PBS and the BBC as well. It was, aired by the BBC. Now it is an Arabic I would say book, and it is widely read in the Arab world. And many others I did as well. So, but however, I still consider myself as a practitioner, not a theorist in translation. I started my career as a translator. I spent years and years in translation. Then I moved to academic work, but I carried my experiences with me, and always my experiences in translation supported me enough in my academic career as well. Knowing a foreign language is, I would say, a big benefit and to someone who is living in the Arab world, and I think even in the West. I know how much people were eager to learn Arabic when I was teaching Arabic at BSU campus. People, even in the United States, they would like to learn other languages. Learning another language is a big benefit to the person itself, to his community, and probably to humanity. And we will see many examples how really one person changed, the world, or I would say saved the world by his translation. Or sometimes I would say he might break a war because of his translation. But I don't want to go to the negative side of translations, because it is very few in history, but we have a lot of good examples, I would say, of good translations that really tapped knowledge gap all throughout. Now, let me share screen, please. Okay. Well, I think I should go back to do something else. Okay. Well, okay.
Open it on your desktop and then.
Oh, yes. I'm doing that. Yes, Habibna. Oh, I couldn't go back to. Well, what's happening? Well, I couldn't get back to you guys. I want to go back to the meeting. Are you listening? Okay, now I'm.
You are in the meeting, but to open your.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Back. Okay. Well, now before. Okay. And after this introduction, I would like to say what is why we are here today. We are here today actually to highlight.
Can you open the whole slides instead of just.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So the objectives of our workshop today is to expose and acquaint educators with importance of translations from language to another, English to Arabic and vice versa, and bridging and promoting multiculturalism, culturalism, yes, and intercultural competences among people in the US and the Middle East. Now, before we proceed to our activities today, I would like all of you, allow me to, I would like you to listen to this 2-minute song, and then I will say why we are bringing it to the workshop. But if you enjoyed it much, don't, I don't want you to stay with it, because we should go back to our workshop.
Did you play it? Dr. Khalil.
Yes.
Did you play it?
Yes, I did.
No,
Do-
we don't have it.
You don't hear it?
Nothing. We
Oh.
don't hear it, we don't see it.
Oh,
It's not active.
it is. I mean, I'm listening now.
Yes,
I'm
that's
hearing it.
because it lives on your computer.
Ah, okay.
So you probably need to skip it in this case.
Sorry, I think after he play it, he should share it with us.
Separate.
Now, are you hearing Dr. Jabbar?
Yeah.
Hello?
As Buthena said, you can put it on your desktop and play it and then share it separately.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But let me first.
If it's not important, you can skip it. It's up to you.
Now, I would like to stop it first. You know, I can't stop it even. Okay.
It's about meetings, so it's not there.
Yes.
My
Let me go back
recommendation,
to my.
my recommendation is
Dr.
go
Jabbar.
back to your PowerPoint and skip this.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Habibi. Yalla.
Yeah.
You know, always we get problems with
Technology.
technology. Yes. Well, it tells us actually it is a tradition. This is a piece of tradition sung by a well-known Egyptian singer, Kulthum. The words are translated by Ahmad Rami into Arabic from, I think, Edward Fitzgerald, the English version of the translation by Gerald from the Persian language from Omar al-Khayyam. Omar al-Khayyam is a Persian. He's the original author of this piece. Then it was translated by Edward Fitzgerald, and then it was translated and lived with us, you know, as a song by Kulthum, a well-known singer in the Arab world, as a tradition actually, by Ahmad Rami. So I brought this here. We will see the connection later, but anyway, it's an example of how translation revived this piece of work, which was authored and made, I would say, hundreds of years back, but it is still living with us because of translation. Without translation, we wouldn't have the chance, or we would have missed the chance even to listen to such a tradition, a beautiful tradition. So what does a translation cover, or what does translators, what do translators cover when they translate? They actually translate in science.
Could you give us the whole slide, please? Full.
Pardon? Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, sure, yes. They translate in academic research, in business, in management. So they translate in education, health, culture, politics, diplomacy, development, etc. So they translate in everything. So all walks of life, and we have translations, and there is a communication between across cultures that translators tap the gap of knowledge between cultures in the different walks of life. Now, I would like to take you to see now the connection between knowledge structure, and translation. So I would like to go to an individual activity. I would like each one of you, حبايبي في اللي بيسمعونا اليوم, I would like all of you to try to brainstorm and define what does knowledge mean to you. So you have 3 minutes or 4 minutes. You can even put your definitions in the chat room, or you can even share it by raising hand. So now it is your turn الآن الإخوان الحضور يمكن في يعني هون بنحاول نعرف فقط المعرفة. خلينا نعرف هل إحنا بنعرف بالأول المعرفة شو معرفة، يعني شو معناها بالضبط بالنسبة لنا، لأنه بصراحة this is a very confusing I found it confusing and I would like to make a connection. بحاول أربط ما بين المعرفة وما بين الترجمة مشان إحنا نعرف كيف مهمة المترجمين في يوم من الأيام يعني كانت to fill the gap or to tap the gap of knowledge over history. فخلينا نشوف منكم ماذا تعني لكم كلمة معرفة، واحيانا بيخلطوها مع علم. فانا يعني هاي يعني خلينا نقول اكتيفيتي حب نشتغلها مع بعضنا ونعود مع بعضنا after 2 minutes. So 2 minutes from now. المطلوب نحاول نعرف بس فقط أو نعرف المعرفة. وأحيانا في ناس كثير بيخلط ما بينها وبين sometimes they interchange it with the word علم, science. So we need to make to see the difference between علم and معرفة and see how knowledge is related to translation. I would like some people to admit, خلاص I think they are okay. حدا بده يشارك من أصحابنا؟ عبد الله، خلينا نشوف الشات روم. دكتورة بثينة، can you hear me?
Yes,
we
yes, I
do.
think there are a couple of answers. Yeah. On the chat already.
In the chat room? Oh, okay.
Yes, in the chat room, you have
knowledge. Yes, knowledge is a familiarity, awareness, or understanding of someone or something, such as facts, skills, or objects. Knowledge is processed information, and data from Rami Abu Hamida. Great. What else? Okay. Well, I think what's written is nice as well, and it is related. Well, knowledge was defined by Plato as a true belief, and this true belief should be justified, should be from authentic source, and should be valuable. So knowledge, actually, it is content. And some people in my world, actually, and especially in the Arab world, they, all the time they confuse it with ilm. We refer to ilm and knowledge together. But ilm actually is the methodology of acquisition knowledge, and knowledge is the content. So what knowledge is? It is our own belief. It is our set of beliefs justified from authentic source and valuable. So our opinions, our assumptions, our views of the world are the knowledge. المعرفة هي اعتقاد سليم حول ظاهرة محددة أو حتى حول العالم بأسره. هذا الاعتقاد ينبغي أن يكون مبرر من مصدر موثوق ذو قيمة. بالمناسبة Plato, he just put it as a true belief. Then other scholars, they added should be justified, authentic source, and valuable. Great. Now, this is the structure or the knowledge structure. Knowledge structure is composed of facts, and each 2 facts or more, they construct or they compose what we call a concept, one concept. is composed of two facts or more. And each two concepts, they compose our beliefs, our assumptions, our views of the world, our theories of the world. So now let's go to, and let's try to see which is more important, concepts or facts. Can I get answers on this? مين الأهم في هذا هرم المعرفة؟ هرم المعرفة كما ترون يتكون من الحقائق. هذه الحقائق اللي بتشوفوها هون حقائق هي عبارة عن statement of truth، تمام؟ وأيضا مفاهيم. كل حقيقتين مع بعض أكثر شكلا ما يسمى بالمفهوم. مثال، لنفرض أننا بنقول برتقال أو موز أو تفاح، هذه عبارة عن حقائق. كل الأشياء اللي هي أسماء الأشياء أو أسماء الأشخاص وأسماء الأماكن هي عبارة عن حقائق. كل اثنين أو أكثر بشكل ما يسمى بالكونسبت اللي هو المفهوم. طب شو المفهوم؟ المفهوم مثل فواكه. فواكه it's a mental I would say construct or an organizing idea sorry represented by one or two words. بالعادة بتكون أن الكونسبتس they transfer universal and they transfer across cultures. Facts are local, so local. Now each two concepts, or if we have, when they enter in one relationship, they compose what we call a principle or generalization or theory. So our beliefs, according to the definition of knowledge, our beliefs are composed of concepts. Unfortunately, curriculum are I would say designed by facts, not by concepts. And this actually makes clashes between cultures. Now, if we raise the bar and if we, I would say, designed our curriculum by concepts, I think mutual understanding will happen automatically. So I think this is one of the problems of curriculums, that is, they are designed by facts, not by concepts. Now we will see how concepts are related to translation. Why we are after concepts? Because knowledge has an inherent structure from topics and facts framed by concepts, which combine to form generalizations, principles, and theories. Concepts and generalizations transfer through time, across cultures and across situations. So this is why we are after and we concern with concepts, not facts. However, the relationship between concepts, facts, and generalizations or theories is, I would say, interchangeable, because we prove our opinions, ideas, and views of the world by facts. We support our opinions by facts. So still, facts are important. Facts are important, but actually, I would say the basic bricks of our ideas and opinions are concepts, not facts. Now, gap of knowledge. Why we have gap of knowledge? I know gap of knowledge now. In literature, there is a lot of jargon and there is a lot of literature which talks about gap of knowledge, and the concern is technology, and it is. I would say the gap because of the misdistribution of wealth among people and among countries. But here in this workshop, I'm talking about another kind of poverty, or another, I would say, implication of poverty, because poor people, they cannot learn another language. And not all people, I would say, especially, for example, in Europe, 96% of people, they learn another language. But for example, in Jordan, I don't think, and I don't have a number actually, but the case is not. Rich people, they are able to send their kids to schools where they can learn another language, but poor people, they are not. So There are many reasons actually behind the gap of knowledge. The level of poverty is still high. Digital illiteracy, lack of professional skills and foreign language skills required for jobs. The illiteracy level needs to be, I mean, this is the reading and writing illiteracy I'm talking now about, needs to be eradicated first before we venture into studying another language. It's repeated. Democracy as well, because especially in the Middle East, because of the lack of democracy, actually, you know, there is a gap of knowledge as well. Okay, now let's go to see how our friends, the translator and the interpreter, they bridge the gap between across cultures and between people. I'm quite يعني أنا آسف جدا جماعتي بالعربي. I'm very sorry حبايبي الأودينس، إذا أنا مش كثير يعني مش قادرين تتابعوا معي بالإنجليزي أنا آسف، بس ذكروني برجع أتكلم بالعربي. ففي حدا هون مش قادر يتابعنا يعني وأنا داعي بالأساس، أحب أسمع منكم. أوكي، يعني شو اسمه العرض بالإنجليزي والشرح بالإنجليزي. It's okay for all of us. اوكي. عفوا دكتور عبد الله تفضل. دكتور بثينة.
Yeah, I just want to say to Laura, he just asking the student if they need any kind of help in translation.
Oh yes, because I find myself speaking all throughout in English, and I don't want to miss يعني some of my audience as well. Well, now
we do understand every word you're saying. Actually, we do understand it, so it's okay.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Thank you, Jihan. Thank you, Jihan. Shukran. A translator is a person who helps people who speak different languages to communicate, or who takes something such as a speech or a book in one language and who puts it into a different language for people to understand. Being a translator means removing a language barrier and as much as possible bridging a cultural gap between people. The translator, or the man who transmits the correct and accurate meanings of one culture into another, he facilitates understanding. Well, as you see, translation is a noble career. It's a noble activity, a noble human activity. People who know more than one language, they help others who do not have the opportunity to learn another language, and to get them to take them hand in hand in knowledge. So those people are very noble. Those people who are doing translations, I think they are noble people. Translation brings information, stories, and culture from different parts of the world to people who might never have the chance of learning a second or third language. It means facilitating communication in small individuals and big-scale corporations. Translation is a noble job, and a classy translation may save the world. You know, especially interpreters, because they actually sit with politicians and classy kings and politicians. So, and they do the job. They are the ones who transmitting. I would say who are translating between the politicians. So if misunderstanding happens sometimes, it is because of translation. Plus I would say the misunderstanding between politicians themselves. Now, well, let us do this activity. I don't want to take take the whole time speaking. You see, I wanna just try to engage you, all of you, with me in such activities. We got 3 or 4 activities in this session. Activity 2. This is not a song, Jabbar. Don't worry, we will not miss Kulthum here. But I think we need breakout rooms. Okay. I need my people here to see the similarities and differences between a translator and interpreter. 5 minutes or 10 minutes for this session. Can we make breakout rooms?
Yes, I will do
Please.
right away.
And الآن the chance is yours حبايبي في يعني راح نقسمكم لمجموعات الزملاء الموجودين ومعنا وراح يعني تناقشوا في موضوع من هو المترجم، من هو المترجم الفوري والمترجم التحريري.
Already they went to the rooms, as you see. They are jumping to their rooms randomly. Okay, so I have, are you in the room? No? Hello? What happened?
So the people on the screen still have not gone to their rooms. I'm getting an invitation.
Yeah, so get to the room, guys.
Okay,
Accept the invitation and go to the rooms. All rooms are open.
just hit the join button. It
Yes.
says join, just go.
Yeah, join, please. Go. Room 1 and room 2. Say join. Aya, I'm gonna send you to room 1. By the way, my granddaughter, her name is Aya too. So, okay, so I'm gonna send you to room 1. Join.
Okay, do the rest of you have an invitation to join a room? There you go. Dr. Khalil. Can't hear you, honey.
Yes.
There you go.
Can you unmute people in the breakout rooms?
Yes.
Because I want them. I want them.
Oh,
to
are they
discuss.
muted? Ah,
Oh yes.
okay.
Oh yes. Please, thank you.
Okay, I think I have to go. Participants. Ah, okay, here it is. That's what I need. It just says ask to unmute, but it doesn't look like I have control to do the unmute.
Okay.
It looks like they can. Please.
They can talk, right? Okay, great.
They can hit the button to unmute.
Right. Okay. Did you join any of the groups, Dr. Jabbar, or?
Yeah, Jabbar went into the group. He's in group 1.
Okay. Okay, great.
The other people that are still on the screen are still here and not in the group.
Okay.
They're coming and going.
Jihan Ibrahim, can you hear me? Jihan?
Yes, I can. I went to a group, but no one was there. So that was kind of weird. Okay.
Well, so
that's my problem.
There are 2 people in the group now. I can see there are 2 people there now. They were just late.
Okay.
Jihan, we have Ines, Mirayat, Suhaiba, Thawar. You can unmute yourself and discuss the topic. As well, you can assign a speaker to the group that he will speak for you when we leave the breakout rooms.
Okay, do you want me to put a message in all of the breakout rooms to tell them to choose a speaker?
Please.
Okay. Okay, I sent the message.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. So Sarah, Sahib, and us have not.
And Ines, Hamid, Sarah as well. Hamid in Arabic.
Right.
Well, I think
Most people did.
we will see some, I will talk about this later, but I'd like just to engage people. It's the idea, actually.
Of course.
It's interesting. Yes.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this immensely, actually.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, actually, I was thinking to use some other technology, for, I would say, audience engagement. But actually, because you told me that Zoom and I didn't have time, I think breakout rooms is beautiful.
It is.
One.
They are good.
Yes.
I really enjoy using them in my classrooms last year.
Yes, I do. I do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think can we end even the breakout rooms? Well, or did you assign 10 minutes or less?
I think Jabbar signed. He just sent a message that said 3 minutes left, but that was a minute or two ago.
Okay, great.
Just giving them warning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, everyone is returning. The rooms are closing. 30 seconds. You're mute, Dr. Khalil.
Yes.
There you go. Okay, good.
We have only 6 people. Okay, they are coming back. Okay, great. Well, great. Are we all back?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. Let's go and see what similarities you found out between a translator and interpreter. And yes, similarities.
You can say, room 1, and if they have the coordinator, they can report to all of us. Room
Yes,
2,
please.
and then room 3, room 4. So let's start with room 1.
Okay, great.
Room 1, please.
if they're not ready, our group is ready, and I'm the speaker, Jihan.
Please go ahead.
Go ahead. Which room?
Okay. 4. Room
Okay.
4.
Go ahead.
Great.
Me, Jihan, Raghda, and Rami. So I'm an English student. I'm taking actually translation to a lecture, and my lecturer is Dr. Abdullah Shahabat. He's with us right now. So he told us that translation is an art. Okay, this is the most significant sentence he said in the whole lecture. So you want the differences between interpretation and translation, or translator or interpreter. So translation, the basic difference is translation is written, okay? Or a translator writes the translation. But the interpreter is an oral translation. It's a spoken translation.
Yes.
Yeah. So in translation, in translator, a translator has much time to translate the text or what he's supposed to translate. So he has more time than an interpreter. But we, as an interpreter, we have 2 types actually. It's simultaneous interpretation and consecutive interpretation, I guess. The simultaneous is the one that is at the same time as the speaker is talking, the interpreter is translating to the audience. But at a consecutive, it has a time lapse where the translator or the speaker is telling his words or the text, he's saying the text, that the translator or the interpreter is taking notes, waiting for the speaker to stop talking. Then he translates to the audience. So those are the main differences, as I know, between this and that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, room 1 or 2. Any other
Sultan here speaking from room 2.
Habibi, go ahead.
As my friend and colleague Jihan mentioned, the translator, he translates a written text, but the interpreter, he translates orally. The interpreter, the main difference from a translator, he translates for an audience or a group of listeners. On the other hand, the translator only translates a written text. He doesn't have a target audience or a group of listeners.
Great. Yes. Who else?
Can I say something?
Yes, Haneen, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Dr. Abdullah Shahabat, student in translation 2. May I say that translator have got a plenty time in translation. He should be faithful, so he gave the explanation right. Interpreter, he should be speak fast, so he managed what he said also.
Right.
Interpreter should be major or specific in topics. Translator should be general, should have general information.
Okay.
But the similarities between two, they both work between 2 languages, require long training and practice, and got the same experience.
Okay. Okay.
Something.
Are we left with
Professor.
rooms? Sultan al-Muhr, أتصور.
Yes, doctor.
Which room?
Yeah, again from room two again.
Go ahead, please.
A main feature of an interpreter, he only has one source to translate from, which is his mind.
Right.
He doesn't have the time to look in other sources. He only
Right.
has his mind
Yes.
to like instantly get them the other meaning in the target language.
Right. Yes. Ibrahim.
As Sultan mentioned, also one of the features they must have is they must be bicultural and bilinguistic or bilanguage, or they should speak the both languages and they must be bicultural. Know the both cultures of the languages.
Well, thank you very much. Anyone left from other rooms? Okay. Yusuf and Sur.
Yes, say Dr. Yusuf from room 1.
Okay.
Actually, I have nothing actually more to add from what my colleagues said, but basically translator and an interpreter, actually they both translate, which is this is similar. Although, as they said, an interpreter actually translates orally, let's say, and a translator needs to like translate a script and write it afterwards. So basically, that's the differences that I know of. And of course, there's the difference between like interpretation and translation, because the interpreter needs to do it like word by word, and it's actually pretty much harder than translation. So that's the main difference in my opinion.
Yes, thank you very much. Yusuf, lower your hand, or still you are raising your hand? Okay, thank you. Well, I think me too. I don't have much to add actually, because you came up with all the similarities and differences between both. Thank you. This is a good discussion, I think. And let's go to see what I have in my slides: translator and versus interpreter similarities. Both are linguists. They translate a message from one language to another. They have thorough knowledge of the two languages that they are working with. They have in-depth knowledge of the culture, professional qualifications for both of them as well. They translate into the target language without changing the meaning of the message. The meaning is the paramount thing of the translation. Dr. Abdullah Shabat, تفضل. Dr. Abdullah, do you want to? Yes.
Good evening,
Go
everybody.
ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you can hear me well.
Yes, we do.
Good, doctor.
Good. I can say I cannot say more of what my students have said. The point I want to raise is the two aspects of language, the translator as well as the interpreter, enjoy both the communicative approach. So once they communicate with the translation without influencing or distorting the meaning, so their translation or interpretation would be judged as successful. So a commonality between both is that to make sure that the translation succeeds, you should know that you have communicated the intended message, the message of the target language. Once the target language message is communicated or is rendered or is captured, then we can judge that they have successfully translated and or interpreted. This is a major commonality in both these slides to like phraseology.
Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you for your input, Dr. Abdullah. Yes, true. All what I agree with what you said. For that, this is, I would say, the differences between a translator and interpreter. A translator is interested with written communication. However, an interpreter is interested with spoken material. A translation delivered long after the creation of the source text. So it's working with text that it is long after the creation or the authorship of the source text. An interpreter is on the spot. He's translating on the spot. So actually the pressure is higher on the interpreter more than the translator. Accuracy for a translator, for written translation, is a must. For an interpreter, the meaning, he has just to preserve the meaning. So sometimes he deletes, he leaves some parts of the talk, but the meaning is the most important thing for him. He should not change the meaning. A translator often uses technology, but the interpreter, he has no time to use technology in interpretation. I mean, he used actually some aids, I would say, but not technology as, for example, he cannot search, he cannot, drafts or doing something like this. Actually, a translator, he must do the full text translation. He cannot leave anything. There is a liberty in leaving certain parts without translation for an interpreter, because he is, and his translation is going instantly, and he is under pressure. So he want to just convey the message or the meaning between the people he is translating for them. Oh, thank you. This is a historical perspective. Let's see now in a long historical journey, and see how translation one day, especially in the Dark Ages, when Europe was really at dark ages, how translation contributed to revive I would say, the heritage of the Greeks, and how it transmits a lot of good contributions between I would say, the Middle East, Asia, near Asia, I would say, شو بسموه آسيا البعيدة وأوروبا أيضا. وهذا اللي بيهمنا أكثر، إنه how really translators were able to transmit knowledge, and they tapped the gap of knowledge between the East and the West. For example, in medicine, and I want to just give you some examples, because actually this is a lot, I would say this is well researched, and there is a big literature, a huge literature actually for the contributions of Muslim and Arab in translation, and how did they preserve the Greek heritage, and how did they added to it, and they contributed to it as well, and then they transmitted it through translation to other cultures. In medicine, for example, we have Muslims who gained access to the Greek medical knowledge of through the translations of their works in the 7th and 8th century. For example, Ibn Sina, he wrote the Canon of Medicine, which contained all Greek medical knowledge together with Arabic interpretations and contributions. Ibn Sina was also known for Kitab al-Shifa, Book of Healing, in which he divided practical knowledge into ethics, economics, and politics, and theoretical knowledge into mathematics, physics, and metaphysics. One of Al-Razi books, called Treatise on Smallpox and Measles, was translated into Latin, then English and other European languages, and went through 40 editions between the 15th and 19th century. Ibn Nafis advanced a theory of blood circulation between the compartments of the heart and the lungs, and of pulmonary circulation or lesser circulation. Abu al-Qasim al-Zahrawi, and many others. This is in the field of medicine. I don't want to go, I want to just survey. In history, we have Jabir Hayyan, formed the basis of modern science. Al-Razi, again, he actually contributed to medicine, and now he is contributing to chemistry. Al-Razi, in his book, Secret of Secrets, described the chemical processes and experiments he conducted. Ibn al-Baytar, also book, collection of simple diets and drugs, contain detailed records of the plants in the lands along the length of the Mediterranean coast between Spain and Syria. In mathematics, we have Muslims derive the theory of numbers. in arithmetic from translations of the sources, such as box 7 until 9 of Euclid or Euclides elements, and the introduction to the science of numbers by Nicomachus, I think, of Gerasa. Muhammad ibn Ahmad in the 10th century invented the concept of zero or صفر, and many people, they do not know that actually this. Thabit ibn Qurra not only translated the Greek works, but also argued against and elaborated on the widely accepted views of Aristotle. Al-Khwarizmi with algebra and the mathematical modeling, all are contributions. They came through translation from the Middle East to Europe, and from the Far East as well to Europe. In astronomy, we have a lot for Al-Khwarizmi and many others. Ibn al-Shatir theory of lunar motion was very similar to that attributed to Copernicus some 150 years later. And here I would like to highlight that sometimes, you know, this is actually my own theory, please, Yani. My own theory that sometimes translation is, I would say, mixed with plagiarism. Because, for example, now researchers, they are trying to make a research on how this happens between Ibn al-Shatir and Copernicus. You see, currently researchers are investigating whether it was possible that Copernicus, writing the Vatican Library in Rome, had seen Ibn al-Shatir 14th century manuscript illustrating his concept of planetary motion. The reason for this supposition being a diagram in Copernicus commentaries, I think, that was remarkably similar to Ibn al-Shatir schematic diagrams. Yes. So, though translation has really, it played a significant role in tapping the knowledge gap between the East and the West. However, sometimes or many times, it happens that this went with mistakes and errors. Any translation, I don't think that it goes without a mistake or an error. And I think the difference is clear between a mistake and error. A mistake is a slip of tongue or a slip of pen, but an error is someone that is ignorant of the rule, or he made it intentionally. Okay, so this is the big difference between an error and a mistake. But I will refer to the translator's mistakes as mistakes, because I would say that they have good intentions, but they went into slip of tongues or slip of pens. Translators errors. Okay, from my experience, actually, I collected these examples. Sometimes the original text is the English, and the people who translated into Arabic, they went into problems, and we will see what problems. And sometimes, no, while they are translating from Arabic into English. Okay, and then we will go and see, we will have a break out room as well to see what reasons behind why translators, went into such mistakes or errors. The first example, والمثال هذا حسب أخطاء المترجمين. By the way, when I was searching on translators' errors, I found a big and huge literature written on translators' errors. I thought that only the examples that I went through, but actually it's a huge literature, and some people, they authored books on this. Okay, let's see some examples. 2 months ago, the United Nations held a meeting in Hague City. It is translated into Arabic. I wish Laura can know Arabic, you see, to see that the mistake of the translation. قبل شهرين عقد مجلس الأمن الدولي اجتماعا في مدينة هيغ. طيب شو رأيكم بهذه الترجمة؟ Especially students who are now studying translation. How do you see this? Or can you pick up the error in this translation? The Arabic is the translated text. Anyone, he can raise his hand or her hand. إذا حدا بده يشارك بيقدر يرفع إيده. قبل شهرين, months ago, the United Nations عقد مجلس yes رامي أبو حميدة. Unmute yourself.
Yes, good afternoon, Doctor. For me, I think the translation is kind of correct. It might need that قبل شهرين to be after.
To be what? Well, sorry, we lost Rami. Anyone else until Rami is back? حد بده يقدم لنا وين دكتور أبو ثينة؟ دكتور أبو ثينة، خلينا نورجيك شغلنا احنا بالترجمة بما انك انت جاي من عالم البزنس.
I'm still here. By the way, Ram, he's one of my students, but I'm gonna leave it to our student to answer. I'm listening.
Okay.
And
Great.
Again, Ram, he's one of my students.
Okay, خلاص. He's working.
Okay. Yusuf, do you know what is the error here, or Imran? Hello.
Well, anyone else? قبل شهرين عقد مجلس الأمن الدولي اجتماعا. هاي actually when يعني I went through this I think 20 years back. رامي حبيبي.
Yes,
رامي.
Yes, Doctor. I had a problem.
We lost you. Sorry.
Okay,
yes,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, for me, I think the whole sentence is good, but I think maybe the قبل شهرين sentence need to be after the full sentence. That's the only thing I.
Thank you.
Thank you.
شكرا. اوكي شكرا. حدا ثاني؟ اوكي. اصلا مجلس الامن الدولي هو وين يقع؟ في اي مدينه؟ في مدينه هيغ. مدينه هيغ اسمها لاهاي. تمام. هون وقع المترجم في مشكله. ترجمت he transliterate Hague into Hague and in Arabic it's Lahai. So this is one. Let's go to she would prefer to go with hot dogs. How did the translator render this into Arabic?
So that
تفضل هي الذهاب مع كلاب حامية. Okay. And hot dogs is a meal actually.
Dr. Khalil.
Yes.
Even the first sentence 2 months ago, the United Nation, UN is not the Majlis al-Amin.
Okay.
This entirely different.
Yes.
Amin is different.
Yes.
Nation.
Thank you for this mistake as well. Yes, United Nation is not Majlis al-Amin. Actually, the United اللي هي الأمم المتحدة الآن يعني عقدت الأمم المتحدة يعني okay great. Damages for damages. Dr. Abdullah Shahabat, and I would like to share this with you. I know I'm an expert in this. Damages. Do you see any problem with that as أتلاف أو إتلاف؟ هاي مرت معي مرة في أحد العناوين في أحد الاتفاقيات. دكتور عبد الله تفضل.
رامي اللي رافع ايده مش دكتور عبد الله.
رامي تفضل. رامي تفضل. دكتور عبد الله يعني بيجهز طلابه ما شاء الله عليه.
الله يزيد فضلك دكتور. اتوقع دامجز تيجي في كلمه احسن من اتلاف اللي هي اضرار او ضرر. اضرار نعم. اوكي. الحقيقه هذه شغله لازم تعلمها طلاب الترجمه انه دامجز بس في حاله البلورال بس في حاله الجمع تعني تعويضات وليست اتلاف، وهناك فرق كبير وجدتها في احدى الاتفاقيات مترجم على انها اضرار، وهي في الحقيقه بس فقط when it is plural go and check the dictionary you will see that damages when it is plural it means compensations not damages in the meaning in our mind right. هون اطرف حاجه مرت علي في حياتي ان هناك شهاده ميلاد قدمت لي للترجمه في عام 1992 وتحمل شهاده الميلاد في اخر شيء منها in witness thereto العباره يعني
إنه السيد فلان was born out of wedlock. وحينما جيت أترجمها فترجمتها إنها هذا يعني إثباتا لذلك ولد السيد سين من أبوين حقيقة غير شرعيين. أنا لما جيت أترجمها لأن أنا I checked the dictionary, I consulted the dictionary, then I found that out of wedlock means two unlegitimate parents, right? لكن الحقيقة هون وقع هاي كانت شهادة من الهند بصراحة بتذكرها في هذا المسألة. وجدت إنه هناك مشكلة بالنص الأصلي. لأن البني آدم هذا بقول ابني بده يروح على الخدمة العسكرية، كيف بتقول عنه يعني illegitimate؟ Actually he is legitimate for two parents, you see, two married parents I mean. فلذلك وجدنا إنه المشكلة كانت بالنص الأصلي. النص الأصلي لازم يكون he was born in wedlock. Born in wedlock means for legitimate parents and married parents, but out of wedlock it means unmarried. And the difference is يعني بصراحة that big. بالعربي حروف قاهرة envelopers, you see. يعني this is a joke actually, you see. الأقمار الصناعية العربية translated one day as industrial moons, you see. Satellite. إشارة إلى كتاب رئيس الوزراء رقم with indication to Prime Minister's book instead of letter. مؤسسة النقد السعودي was translated as Saudi Arabian Criticism Establishment. Yes, okay. Okay. And I know that you have a lot of other errors that translators and interpreters made. And if you want to share, yes, let us see or hear from you guys. Abdullah, أنا عارف إنه عندك thought of this. If you want to خلنا نقول contribute to us, please go ahead. Okay. الآن خلينا نحاول نعرف شغلة.
بروفيسور خليل.
Yes, go ahead دكتور عبد الله تفضل. Go ahead دكتور عبد الله. دكتور عبد الله الشهبان.
Okay. Actually, the vast majority of these translators errors.
Can you get closer to the mic, Dr. Abdullah?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Can you hear me well right now?
Yes, now yes.
Can you hear now?
Yes,
okay.
yes, Dr. Abdullah.
So my point is that sometimes professional translators as well as beginner translators commit such mistakes because of blindly using machine translation and Google translation without understanding the real message, the real existent message of the original text. So I always teach my students, you have to read, and before you read, you have to read, and before you read, you have to read again until you master the comprehension of the original message. You have to understand, and then you have to translate. We cannot translate before understanding. This is the biggest problem. As is the case
I agree with you.
Qahira. So they translated Qahira as Cairo, which has the same phonetic transcription. So they depended on the literal translation, and word for word translation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. Well, I agree with you, but unfortunately, we cannot cover machine translation tonight. And I think this should be covered in a consequent offering a workshop or a talk later. We may arrange it because actually it's very important. But today, actually, the time will not allow us to cover this, especially because many people now they use machine for translation, and we will see how the machine is dull and sometimes not intelligent when it performs translation. Once I was invited with a group of translators in Saudi Arabia to see whether a machine, they brought that machine once, and they said that it is a good translator. Then they just gave us the translation from that machine. And really, when I read it, I only wrote one sentence. This translation needs a human translator. That was only one comment. And really, we stopped, that work, because really I found that it is, I would say, deformed text. It was really distorted text, not a good translation, and I didn't see any significance in that translation. Okay, let's go to why translators commit mistakes. Why do they commit mistakes or errors? We would like to have this is the last Jabbar breakout room, the final one, and we would like to our people to discuss the reasons behind such mistakes. We can go back to that same, to the mistakes that I showed you on the previous slide, and try to find the reason why that translator made such a mistake. And this will be the last thing that I will discuss tonight. 5 minutes for the breakout rooms, and then we will come back and discuss it in another 5 minutes. Okay, Dr. Habibi?
When you just hit join, and then you'll go there. So I created now. Let me see if we can have, only because we have 13 people here. So
great. Okay.
We're gonna do 2 rooms.
Okay, great.
Yeah, 1 second. Create.
We got one more student, 14 now.
Yeah, it's fine. I
7.
mean, okay. So. Okay.
Okay.
Just enjoy,
Yes.
please.
Okay. Yeah.
Just click on join. Yeah. Anas? Anas, are you in the room? Anas, are you there? Laura, do you hear me? Laura, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so you and I are out that 2 rooms, but Anas is.
Now he is. Now okay. Now he's done.
Okay. So we left it. We have almost 32 minutes left.
Yeah. So far, so good.
So far, so good. I mean, 33 with us, we reach about 20, 24, or actually 26, and then they start dwindling down.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens with students.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. I am a lot of what he's talking about is resonating with me. You know, knowledge, Plato, and
Yeah.
then you know, and concepts versus facts. This is what I do in the logic class every semester. So
Yeah.
starting with that, and then and this difference between translator and interpreter being and it's not just about the details, right?
Yeah.
What I think what he's trying to get at is that it's a whole cultural translation that needs to be done when you are engaging in this job, that you do need to have a sense of the history of the language and the culture and how the language is used within the culture in order to do the interpretation properly.
All right.
So that's all very nice.
You know, it's yeah.
Yeah, and then the stuff about the history of science. I had my graduate degree required us to do a minor in another department, and my minor was history of science. So all that stuff that he was talking about, Avicenna, Ibn Sina, the translation of the Greek, I'm familiar with all of that. It's been a long time, but this new thing that he said about Copernicus and Al-Shatir, that's very interesting, right? Because we proclaim Copernicus as the beginning of the modern world, and it doesn't surprise me that there are roots in the Arabic world for that as well. So that is nice.
Yeah. So 3 minutes are left.
Okay.
They speak English.
They do. They do. Well, this is a class of translation, so so that makes sense. I mean, but my sense of the students at Tefillah was at the time that for the most part they were not learning enough English to be able to communicate. But this particular group is certainly.
I think with the professors that they participated and the students, we can build a community.
Yes.
Like then we can students to student, you know, from here and for next workshop that we were talking about.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, and then I think they can, you know, do a project together.
That would be great.
Will lead to COIL probably.
COIL, exactly.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how that goes.
Good.
So I think this one. So broadcast is 15 minutes left. I don't know what's going on with Juan. She didn't reply to my, you know, I wanted the questionnaires, you know. I mean, I have their emails, of course, now, but even yesterday, she didn't answer.
Oh, no response at all. Well, it is advising and registration time, right? But still, there should be. I mean, there should be at least an acknowledgement.
Yeah, you know. But anyway, I'll follow up with her. Perhaps we can go back to, because they are the same questionnaires, you know.
Yeah.
60 seconds left. So he declined from the interpretation because he has full day on Saturday classes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll find someone.
Well, I don't know if Gufran would be interested. She was my translator in the classroom at Jordan. She was the one that I did the presentation with
Can you speak with
last
her?
time.
That would be
Sure. I can reach out to her and see if she'd be interested.
yeah. Okay, so now
Okay, sure, I can do that.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna close it.
Close the rooms. There's only 10 left.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Muted. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for coming back. Okay, let's see. Room 1. Who is the speaker for room 1? Like to represent room 1.
We are not sure.
حنين احنا كنا روم 1.
احنا روم 1. يلا يا حنين.
بدنا نحكي عن الميستيكس اللي بتواجه الترانسليتر.
Yes.
Okay. Now
يعني
one lack of culture.
No, the reason. نتكلم عن the reasons that made the translator make such mistakes. Yes.
Okay. One, lack of culture and linguistic language, lack of experience, not have a proper information of the language.
Yes.
Lack of a professional experience and lack with the source language.
Thank you. Okay. The other room, who will speak for the other room?
Me, Jihan. So as a translator, we might face some things that make us make mistakes while translating, like time pressure, being unfamiliar with culture specifics or lack of culture education, text typology when I choose the content over the structure or the structure over the content. Also lack of confidence, lack of the capacity and the background, and that may make the text insufficient or isn't that sufficient, like they don't properly comprehend with the original text. So those might be reasons to make mistakes while translating.
Well, great. Before we move to the slide where we will see some reasons or potential reasons for such mistakes, let us see. I would ask you, do you think that sometimes the reason for the translator's errors is the source language itself, not the translation? And can you give an example from the list?
Can I answer?
maybe يعني مين حاب يس يا دكتور عبد الله تفضل.
Okay, as far
دكتور عبد
as
الله.
Okay, one of the aesthetics of translation. Can you hear me, guys? Well, can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
we can. Yes.
Okay, when it comes to the source language text, we always teach our students that a translator should be faithful to the source language text. So I think it's no way possible that the source language text could be responsible for the translator to commit mistakes, because the job of the translator is only to transfer ideas and thoughts from the source language into the target language. So he should translate the text exactly as is rather than as it should be. So I think the responsibility does not lie on the source language text, but it lies on the way the translator renders or captures or transfers the ideas from the source language into the target language text.
Dr. Abdullah, okay, what do you think of this sentence? In the source language, it was written, in witness thereto, Mr. So-and-so was born out of wedlock. The guy actually was born for married parents, right? However, the certificate says that he was born out of wedlock. And, you know, it was translated like من أبوين شرعيين. The translator actually, he made a mistake, right? He wrote it as legitimate or, I would say married parents, though the source text was wrong. It could be written like this. Was born in wedlock في كنف الزوجية مش خارج كنف الزوجية.
Yeah, this is
yes. Go ahead.
Sort of linguistic miscue rather than a problem with the original text. A linguistic miscue, which sort of idiomatically written. So I don't think we can blame the text here as much as we can blame the translator who was unable to manage. So you as a translator managed تصرفت بحكمة and you've solved the problem, even if there was a mistake with the...
Great. So he made up the text. He made up the original text. Okay, let's go to see some other potential reasons behind the mistakes that we... You have Jihan. Yes, Jihan, go ahead. I couldn't see you.
As Dr. Shahabat, it's okay. As Dr. Shahabat taught us, as a translator, the text has a soul. If we transfer the soul from a language to another, we are a successful translators. And as I said, being a bicultural translator, knowing the culture of the sign language and the source language, and the target language, make us understand what we're translating, the main text itself. So if we transfer the source or the soul of the sign language to the text language, we transfer the soul, we're now a good translators. We are an excellent translators. And as he said, he's the professor full time for me. So his point of view is my goal, is to transfer the soul of the text. That's the most important part as being a translator.
But don't you think that sometimes that translators might find a text which has misconceptions, which has wrong ideas or wrong wordings, for example? There must be, right? Not all authorship is great. So now when the translator is engaged with the translation, actually he might find this difficulty, because still the source language or the source text poses a problem for a translator, but not all the times. Okay, let's go to see some more, potential reasons. Sometimes the inaccurate concepts or terminologies. Inexperienced interpreters, they made mistakes. So inexperienced translators as well, they do make mistakes. Lack of editorial supervision in written translations. One of the, I would say the mistakes that translators do, that they do not give their drafted translated text to somebody to read. So sometimes they couldn't catch the mistakes or the errors by themselves. They need an editor or a reviewer. So any translation goes without editorial supervision, I think it is apt for mistakes. Pressure on interpreters. Yes, special interpreters. Yes, I would say I excuse interpreters, because really they made mistakes sometimes because of the pressure on them, because actually their job is different from translation. And that's why they avoid translation. Sometimes because when they got stuff that they think it contradicts with the message they are trying to convey, or the whole process is all about, So sometimes they avoid that in order to keep people, following their message. Okay. And many others. You can give us, I heard a lot of, potential reasons that mentioned by the students. Thank you very much for this engagement and contribution. Well, uncovered topics, actually, computer-aided translation. I didn't find time to cover this. I think this is a recommendation for, I would say, consequent work. Academic role in the movement of translation, because really academics, they have a responsibility to translate in their fields, because their translation would be, they are more closer to the original text, and they can do the translation perfectly, because sometimes the translator does not have all the terminologies or the technical terminologies in all the fields. So that's why he sometimes made mistakes, because no one has, I would say, can have authority in all fields. Plagiarism and translation, and we can give examples next time. At this point, I would say thank you for your attention and nice engagement. I enjoyed talking to you. I hope you really enjoyed the workshop. Thank you, Dr. Jabbar. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Buthaina. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. Thank you, all the translation students who participated with us this great evening. And I'm all ears to hear your questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Khalil, for this informative presentation. And, you connected the historical context with the really social concept, and also the human mistakes that comes from probably two obvious reasons. One is a lack of understanding the culture of other language, and especially when it is you are under pressure for an immediate translation. And secondly is probably sometimes we don't care. Just people, they don't care, because they think that people or the listener or the receiver, that they won't really attend to the message, because it is as an oral message. You have enough time to attend to the message when it is written. Then you can probably point out to some of the errors or mistakes, whether that's intended or unintended. But the thing is, what we want to do as educators, as teachers, as people who hope to gain some information and knowledge from other cultures and other institutions, in our case as higher education, and also to transfer some of the information that we have. So what we'd like to do is how we can take this workshop 1 to the next step in workshop 2, when we have what we call it community to community of learners. That's students to students, and community to community, that's faculty to faculty. And if you can, think from now until spring, until January, that we will have 2 hours where people, they stay with us for 2 hours and probably get some examples. Say, this is what you have missed in this field of study, humanities or social sciences, or even pure sciences. I mean, we would love to see that. And then what we miss also from your side. That's really important for us, to bridge the gap, is meaning actually to provide some examples that we say, yeah, we are missing on that. It's just not on the mechanism of translation, but actually of mechanism of finding the information and share the information. And that's what we'd like to do with this new pathways to MENA. Laura, well, did I translate that? Did I say that precisely what we intend to do?
Yes, absolutely. To be able to I really enjoyed the discussion about the differences between translating and interpreting, and the importance of not just, like as you said, the mechanics of the language, but the so what we would call the connotation or the feeling, the meaning. These things are not just about word choice, but about how the whole thing is communicated. There is a lot to be learned from the process of translating rather than just interpreting.
Yeah, so
and I would really like to see a part 2 of this where we connect some TTU students with some Bridgewater students to be able to compare just some ideas. Here, what I'm thinking about is ideas or situations or turns of phrase that are so particularly embedded in the language and culture that it can be difficult to find ways to translate those things, and then ways to be able to try to overcome those challenges.
Yeah, and especially, you know, would like also to augment whatever we have skills in communication, translated into intercultural competencies, because people, they think, you know, they speak Arabic, they speak English, they speak Hebrew, they speak Farsi, or they speak Turkish. I'm talking about the Middle East, you know, MENA, but they don't necessarily, they put it in the right framework, and also the content is different, as you, Dr. Khalil, mentioned. That's in different levels. So we would like to do that, because building bridges is not really a mechanism. It's not a construction of materials. It's a construction of ideas and concept and thoughts. And it takes two things. It takes, first, it's really willingness to learn and to put that extra effort. And secondly, is the intention. You know, you have to make sure that this is intentionally being thought of, and that's what we would like to do. And for our colleagues, faculty, and students, graduate or undergraduate, there are opportunities for you in Bridgewater State University. What we are thinking is, hopefully, we will cover ourselves and go over and jump over the pandemic. Hopefully, is a temporary things that in 22. But I would like to see the same community led by our faculty, led by Dr. Khalil and Dr. Buthaina, to get, you know, this group, faculty and student, to be on our campus actually in 23, for example. You know, so we want to be very ambitious. So what do you think, Dr. Khalil? You know, you have 10 minutes really to close on this in terms of the next steps, and we are all ears to listen. You are muted.
Well, I'm open, Dr. Jabbar, to any significant ideas that will help us in designing a new workshop or a new talk, if you like, that will get students, I would say, versus students, or faculty versus student versus faculty. Well, we will talk about this. We will see how can we design such an event. I'm open to this and I'm ready to this. From our side, Dr. Shabat, who is teaching now translation, inshallah, will be with us as well. And he's so helpful all the time. Actually, he was with us hand in hand. And actually, I would like to thank Dr. Shabat on your behalf for being able to bring his students as well who are studying translation, because I think those people who will be they will find this topic so interesting to them, because they are now, you know, working on translation. And when they say, for example, they see the errors, for example, now they are thinking of such errors, and I think they would avoid it, and they might even bring some more contributions to our subsequent works. So we are open, Dr. Jabbar, as always. And inshallah, we will talk more and more to design an event that really, I would say, fulfill our ambitions and our expectations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it again. And so on behalf of our team, Laura, Meddu, and myself, thank you so much for that.